welcome back to the She's on Fire podcast. This is episode 2, and I am super excited to talk about this. All right, so episode 1, we talked about the hustle, and we talked about, the word being vilified, it becoming a dirty word. And you can go back and listen to episode 1 if you haven't listened to it, but I just don't agree with that. And my reasoning is because the facts for me, okay, are that I wouldn't be here without the hustle. All right. I mean, I would be here. I'd still be doing the same thing, but I wouldn't be as far along as I am had I not hustled my butt off to get here. So it's something that is very important to me, but also teaching people that you've got to do it the right way, that there is hustling to burnout, right? And there's also hustling to move the needle forward and to really change your life. I know that I actually did get some negative feedback from the episode, and that's okay. Everybody has their opinion on things, right? Everybody has what is right for them and what will work for them. But I don't think hustling in general should be such a negative thing. I really don't, because I see how much it can change lives. I know it changed mine. It changes my clients' lives. And it's something that can really move people ahead very quickly. Now, again, there is a right way to do it and a completely wrong way, right? You don't want to burn out. Nobody wants to burn out. Nobody wants to be exhausted all the time. Okay. So we're going to talk about, in this episode, we're going to talk about how to do it the right way so you don't burn out, so that the people around you, so you don't feel like you're failing them. And here's the thing. I am all for delegating. Okay. I am all for hiring people and delegating out to people things that can be delegated, right? However, let me just say this. I didn't start out that way. And that's why I had to hustle. I couldn't afford to hire people. There was no way I could afford to hire a VA. There was just no way. So I had to do everything myself. I had to find a way. I had to hustle my butt off. And I know that a lot of women I talk to, they don't have the means to hire people. All right. So that's why it drives me crazy when I hear coaches vilify hustling and telling people to hire people to delegate to, when there are women business owners who are just starting out, or maybe who have been running a business for 3 years and haven't gotten anywhere and don't have the means to hire somebody. These are the people I'm talking to. Okay. The ones who need to figure this out, the ones who need to find a way. All right. If you are making all kinds of money and you're still hustling and you're not delegating anything out, well, then you're doing it the wrong way, right? As soon as I had the money, as soon as I started having consistent months, I hired a VA who's still with me today. All right. But in the beginning, I couldn't do that. I could not do that. So you have to understand that you've just got to do things the right way. You've got to get some systems in place, some processes in place in order to move the needle forward. Okay. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give you some ideas, some tips, some pointers to get going on this. All right. One of the things that I want to just say, because I love him so much, is Gary Vaynerchuk said, I'm just going to read it verbatim. He said, what hustle means to him is putting all your effort into achieving the goal at hand. And for me, that means making every minute count. All right. So that is where the key is. I'm glad that he has that quote, because that's really where the key is. You have to make every minute count. All right. You have to be okay with saying no to people. You have to work and not scroll. All right. Because I see a lot, and I talk to a lot of women, right, who admit that that's what they do. Guys, there was a time where I used to do the same thing. All right. Until I got my mindset going and understanding what I needed to do. All right. Until I started working on my mindset and figuring out, okay, this is what's got to take place. We've got to change this, Jen. Right. So, how do you do it? How do you hustle the right way without burning out or feeling like you're failing people? All right. So the first thing I want to say is this, because I talk to a lot of women, like I said, and I hear the stories about, their spouses getting upset with them, their partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, getting upset because the amount of time they're spending on their business. Okay. And some people, again, I seem to say this a lot because people do get annoyed with me and mad when I say certain things. But here's the thing. You're going to have the talk with your person, whoever that is. Okay. You're going to have to do it just like I did. Because when I first started out and I was spending all kinds of time on my business, every day, not every day, we'll talk about that in a second, but pretty much day in and day out, a lot of my free time, a lot of the nap time, a lot of the time in the middle of the night was spent on my business. There were times that I had to say no to people, to going to things. Okay. And I had to have the talk with my husband. He wasn't even my fiance at the time. He was my boyfriend still. We had a baby together, but he was my boyfriend. I had to have the talk with him. And he actually just mentioned it the other day when I was talking about hustling. And, I was talking about how frustrated I get when I hear coaches say, this terrible hustle culture and you shouldn't be hustling and, you should be delegating and all that. And I was like, in the beginning, I couldn't do that. And he said to me, I remember when you told me that either I'm with you or I'm against you. Right. And he remembers the conversation very clearly, that this was something that I really wanted to do. This was something that I was going to make happen with or without him, and that he needed to either be for me. And if he wasn't for me, he was against me. And I was not okay with that. I told him I was not going to be okay with that. And I was not going to stand for it. And that he had to get on board with my goals and dreams. All right. So I know it's not an easy conversation to have, believe me. It's not that he just all of a sudden overnight was like, okay, you know what, work as much as you want. It took a while. All right. But you have to be very honest with your person, whoever it is that's bugging you about it, making you feel bad. It could be a parent, whoever it is. And you need to tell them, this is what I'm doing. Don't hem and haw. Don't feel bad about it. You've got to find the confidence within yourself to just say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. You don't give any other options to the person. Okay. There's no other options. This is what you're doing. This is what you're going to do. And it takes some time to build a business. Business doesn't happen overnight, no matter what anybody tells you. All right. The second thing is, actually, this is really the first thing, but you need to love what you do. All right. If you want to make sure that you aren't going to burn out, you need to love what it is that you've chosen to do. You can't be hemming and hawing about it. You can't be like, well, I love this, but I want to think about doing this. You really need to be on board yourself with what it is that you want to do and the goals and dreams that you have. You need to be crystal clear on those things. That's why I say mindset first. Honestly, I wish if I had gone back, I wish that I had sat down with myself and literally done the mindset work first. All right. Because I didn't do that. I was like everybody else. I didn't do that, but I know how important it is now. Right. You've got to love what you do. You've got to pick something that is something that you absolutely adore and that you want to do every day. Now, that being said, my business is not a walk in the park every day. There are days that sometimes feel rough or heavy, but the good days and the amazing days and the fun far outweigh all of that and makes it all worth it. Okay. And it has from the beginning. There were heavier days back then. You know what I mean? There were harder days back then. but it still made it worth it because I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew with it my whole heart what I wanted. So there's a lot of times I talk to women who are doing one thing, but their heart's really in something else. And I can feel it with them. And I'm always like, you've got to go after that. Like, let go of this. You've got to go after that. Even if you've been spending all this time on something else, if you have something in your heart, man, you've got to go after it. All right. So you've got to love what you do. All right. So those are the first two tips. Next one. All right. Unplug at least one day a week from everything. Okay. From everything. Unplug. No work, no email, no looking at messages, no looking at Facebook. And I mean, don't even look at Facebook. You know what I mean? Don't even look at Instagram. Even if it's that you want to look at your friend's stuff, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get dragged into your business. Okay. So you have to unplug for one day a week, no matter what. Now, put your phone on focus. We'll talk about this in a second when I'm talking about working. Put your phone on focus so nobody can get through to you. All right. Now, when I say that, people are like, what if there's an emergency? You can make it so, let's say what I do when I put my phone on focus. If my daughter is with my mother, she can get through to me. That one person, in case there's an emergency, she can still get through to me. All right. When my daughter was in school, her school, you know, on the days that she was in school, she went to school 3 days a week when she started preschool. I made it so that school, if they called me, or the principal who used their cell phone, those people could get through to me if something were to happen. All right. And obviously my husband, he can get through to me all the time because, you know, he's not always home. And if something happens to him, I really would like to know, right? The world is not going to just end if you unplug for one day. Give yourself a 1 day breather from everything. Concentrate on yourself, concentrate on your family. If you have a family, concentrate on, you know, your fur kids, right? If that's what you have, or all of the above, do that just 1 day a week. Okay. The world is not going to end if you do that. All right. Next thing, when you're working, work in time blocks. All right. So don't just be all over the place. Don't say, I'm going to go and work for, 5 minutes and then do something else. All right. I know in that 5 minutes, you might be able to get something done, but I'm just saying work in a little bit bigger time blocks, whether it's 15 minutes or whether it's 30 minutes. All right. Don't just be like, okay, I'm going to go do this real quick and then go back to doing something. Then I'm going to go do this and I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go do this and do something else. This is going to lead to burnout. All right. Because you're going to just be doing that all day long into the middle of the night and all kinds of stuff. You guys, I know this firsthand. All right. I know this firsthand because this is where I had started. All right. So once I started working in time blocks and I was like, even if it is in the middle of the night. Now, when I'm saying hustle, freaking hustle. All right. Now, if you can't stay up and stay awake in the middle of the night, then obviously you've got to find a different way. Okay. But again, when I first started out and I first started using time blocks, I was like, okay, once my daughter finally falls asleep, which honestly, as a baby could have been anywhere from through toddler stage, I should say. I think I said this in the first episode. She had a very, very difficult time sleeping because of her stroke. Usually like around 11 o'clock, I would be like, okay, 11 to 1 a.m., 2-hour time block. I am putting my phone on focus. So I'm not getting any kind of messages, any kind of, notifications, nothing. 2 hours fully focused. I was not allowed to touch my phone and start scrolling because that's what I often see that is, and I hear it from so many women too, right? So do time blocks as much as you can. Okay. Try to schedule yourself at the beginning of the week. So what I do, even to now, all right, using Trello, is I give myself, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Trello. If you don't know what Trello is, go look it up. It's the best organization tool ever, in my opinion. But use something, okay? You don't have to use that, but use something. It's free up until a certain point. So then I schedule myself. Okay, what am I doing on Monday? What am I doing on Tuesday? What times am I doing this at? I put everything in this so I know where I'm going, what I'm doing, what calls I have. When I have a call with my own coach, because like I said, I believe in coaching fully. And that's why I will always have a coach, multiple actually at this point, because it's so important. All right. I schedule out every single day. Even when I'm taking a day off, I put it right in there and say, I am taking this day off. So nothing is going to come in place of that. Okay. So like this past week, I took off Sunday. It can be any day you want. It doesn't have to be a weekend day. All right. It can be any day you want. Don't schedule any time blocks during that day. Unplug. Okay. So make sure you schedule things out. Make sure you figure out what is you're doing when, and stick to it as much as possible. Now I'm going to say to you, when I first started with my daughter and all the things that she had going on and the problems she had, sometimes my 11 p.m., sometimes it was like 2 a.m. time block, 11 to 2 in the morning time block, there would be times where she'd wake up. All right. Don't get frustrated when things like that happen. Okay. You've got to just pick up, move on to the next thing. All right. Because if you start getting frustrated, you're going to lead to burnout. You really are. Okay. Check emails and messages only twice a day. Don't sit there. You know what? Most likely there is not going to be something so important that you need to check them all day long. All right. I used to do that all the time. I used to be in my email all the time. As soon as somebody would write me, I'd write them back. No more. Don't do that. You can have an autoresponder say the times that you check your email. All right. So maybe you're going to check your email at 7 in the morning and at 10 at night, or, at lunchtime, at noon. Maybe it's only me once a day, and that's okay too. You can have an autoresponder say that. So that way people know what to expect. All right. Now I don't have an autoresponder now because my assistant will let me know if there's something pressing in my email. All right. But again, I know not everybody has the means to have an assistant at this point. I get that. All right. So you just need to have some strategies and processes in place so that way you can really concentrate on all the tasks that you need to do. Okay. If you can delegate, if you have the means to delegate, that's awesome. Start doing it. Okay. Maybe it's only 2 hours a week. Maybe that's all you have the money for is, say, 2 hours a week. There are VAs that will help you with those 2 hours a week. Okay. I know for a fact that my assistant would take on somebody for 2 hours a week right now. Okay. So I want you to understand that you don't have to get a VA and have them there for 10 hours or 20 hours or 30 hours. You can start with 2, and that's okay. We all start somewhere. Last thing. All right. I want you to be confident and okay with saying no to people. Okay. You need to be able to say no to somebody. If you have something going on that you need to finish for your business and somebody wants you to go out on Friday for a drink, say no. Okay. You have to decide. Now, I'm not saying if you want to go, go. I'm not saying just say no, just to say no. I'm saying if you want to go, go. But the things that are going to move your business forward are making the hard decisions about when you can do things, when you need to say no to people, and when to say yes. Now, I know something like that. I was reading a post the other day, and I don't actually remember who it was who posted it. It wasn't like a coach or anything, but it was somebody who was talking about hustle culture. I think I actually went in and looked at the hustle culture hashtag. I think that's what it was. And I just was reading some random posts. But, somebody said about how they don't, and, now that they've stopped with their hustling, they don't, have to say no to friends anymore and stuff like that. That's fine. If you don't want to do that stuff, then maybe running a business isn't for you. Okay. I'm not saying that you can never hang out with friends and family. I'm not saying that it's always a no answer, but I am saying you do have to, as a woman in business, you do have to make these decisions. What is more important right now? What is more important right now? Okay. Can I schedule things in a way where I can go out on Friday with this person? Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it every single Friday. Like, you've got to take your time and you've got to figure out where you can fit your business in, especially if you have kids, if you're working another job, right? If you have all kinds of things that you're doing, where are you going to fit your business in? You have to make the hard decisions sometimes. When I first started, and I'm not just saying when I first started, for a long period, I did have to say no to things. My husband has a huge family. There's always something going on. Not now that we've moved to Florida, that's different because it's just us down here. And we haven't made that many friends yet, but don't feel bad for us. We're fine. But when we were home, when we were back up in Vermont, there was always something going on. He grew up in the same town. He lived there for 40, whatever he is. How old is he? 44 years, right? He lived there. So he had tons of friends there. I moved up there from Connecticut, but there was always something going on. And there were times where I had to say no. I'm sorry, I can't do this. There were times where he would take my daughter when we were invited to people's houses, and he would take her so she wouldn't miss out, and he would go with her. Okay. So just understand that it's not forever. Here's the thing I want you to understand. It's not forever. Now, there are still times where I say no, because let's say I have a live that I need to do, or I have a program that I'm putting together and I'm focused on that. I'm not going to just take a day off and on a whim and go out on our boat or something because he wants to. Sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, tomorrow, fine. I'll clear my schedule and I'll do stuff the next day. I have that ability to do that now. A couple years ago, I did not have that ability because I really needed to focus. So I said no more often, right? Not as much now. So it does improve. And that's what we want for you, right? That's why you want to, own your own business. So you do have the flexibility. So you do have the time, but you also have to take the time to build your business. Okay. All right. So I hope this helped you. I hope you, take these tips into account. I don't want to see anybody burning out. I absolutely do not. All right. Last tip, actually, I'm just going to say this before I get off of here. And I say it every single time, you guys: get a coach, get a coach. They're going to help you. You really have to take that into account. That's why I have multiple coaches. All right. Between mindset, business, I can't stress it enough how much it can help you on your journey. Okay. So anyways, I hope this episode helped you. I will see you on the next one. Bye.